I'm Tiffany of Tip Stitched, and this video is all about how I created my vision board with the line drawings and the fabrics. Now, I showed you guys that sheet of paper back in my spring sewing plans video. If you haven't watched it, go back and check that one out first. But here it is right here. It is the paper that I use where I have the line drawing next to the fabric that I planned on using. And then here I didn't have a line drawing, so I'm going to have to self-draft something. So that is the inspiration dress and then the fabric that I planned on using, and that's pretty much what I repeated for all of my summer plans. I did this page for one-piece outfits, so dresses and jumpsuits. I did another page for separate, so skirts, tops, pants, etc. Now, a lot of you guys asked how I did it because I asked if you wanted a tutorial, and plenty of people said yes, so here it is. And I'm just going to talk about what you need before we jump over to the computer, and that is 1, a computer, 2, access to the internet. It doesn't matter which browser you use. You need the snipping tool, which is what's going to grab the image. The snipping tool app comes free. I think it's already down or installed on Windows 7 and Windows 10 machines. Sorry for those who are Mac users, I don't have a Mac to show you. If you don't have the snipping tool, you can always control print screen, but we'll go over that once we get to the computer. Then you need a place to paste what you copied. I like to use Adobe Photoshop because I'm an Adobe Suite user in general. It gives you a lot of power and options to do things and manipulate the images once you paste it in. But Adobe isn't necessarily cheap and everyone doesn't have access to it. So I'll also show you how to do it in Paint, which again comes standard on pretty much any Windows machine. Again, Mac users, I'm sure there's something similar. You'd know better than me, but I'll give you the gist of how to get it done, hopefully. So with those things, you're good to go. What you will need to do is have a list of the patterns that you plan on putting on your mood board. That just makes it quicker to jump through everything. And I know a lot of us keep sort of either a mental to-do list, a Pinterest to sew list, or whatever, or an actual physical list. So pull that out, and you'll also need, if you have it, the images of your photo of your fabric from the internet. If it's something that you bought in a local store and it's not like Joann's where you can go and pull the image offline, then you can take a picture of it with your smartphone even and save that to your computer, or you can scan it if you happen to have like an all-in-one scanner, printer, faxer thing, and that's another option. But without further ado, let's jump right to the computer. I almost forgot. Another thing that you can do if you can't scan or otherwise find an image of your fabric online is you can simply copy all of the line drawings for your patterns like I've done here and pin the fabric actually to the pattern. If you're doing this in a notebook, you could always staple it. If you're doing like me and using these cork boards or sort of my inspiration wall, you can pin it. You could use a magnet and attach it to a dry erase board. So here I have my spring plans. I'm actually already almost done with this one, and I've done that one. So I only have these 2 or 3 on this side to work on for spring. And then let's shimmy on over to my summer board, which is a little more sparse, but you can see that I have a few dresses here with the fabric that I plan to sew pinned to them. I also have some fabric that doesn't go to anything quite yet, but I definitely want to make something with those 2 black and white fabrics there. But either way, regardless of what you have or what tools you don't have, you'll be able to create some type of mood or vision board or image to help you with your sewing journey. Okay, from your computer, you're going to open up a few different applications. First, you're going to open your web browser. I happen to like Chrome, but it really doesn't matter if you're using Foxfire or Internet Explorer or whatever. You're going to open it up to whatever page you want to copy your pattern from, and I picked McCall 7745 because this has just been a really popular pattern this season. You're also going to have a place that you want to paste it to. You're going to copy it from the web and you need to paste it to something. I happen to use Adobe because I own the Adobe Suite and I use it for a lot of stuff for the blog. So I'm fairly familiar with it. You can do a lot of manipulation here, and I'm going to show you most of your examples here. However, if you don't have Photoshop, if you have a Windows computer or a Microsoft computer, you should have Paint because I think that comes free on everything. So you can also do some edits here in Paint. You're also going to want to open your snipping tool. Now the snipping tool, when I read up on it, comes free on Windows 7 and Windows 10 machines. If you have a Windows XP machine, I think you can download it from the Microsoft App Store. So check that out, or just search snipping tool. But make sure that the icon looks like what I'm about to show you, because I saw a couple of snipping tools online that weren't the actual Microsoft snipping tool, and I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting bugs or something on their computer if that happens to be malware. So like I said, if you have Windows 7 or Windows 10, you can just go to Programs. Well, if you have Windows 7, you can go to Programs and then All Programs. It's either under S for Snipping Tool, A for Apps or Accessories, or maybe a Microsoft folder for Microsoft apps. I can't really remember. I didn't look on my Windows 7 machine, and this one's Windows 10. If you have Windows 10, you can simply type Snipping Tool right here in the search box, and as you can see, it brings up Snipping Tool. This is the icon I want to make sure you see over here in the left hand corner if you are downloading it from Windows XP. It's sort of like a little lasso circle sticker looking thing and a set of scissors. Okay, so with that being said, you also want to open up your snipping tool. I have mine pinned down to, let me back up some. I have mine pinned down here on my toolbar, my taskbar, because I use it pretty often. But however you've gotten to it, go ahead and open it up. Now, there are 4 different modes. The first one is free snip mode, or freeform snip, sorry. I don't use that mode because my hand's not that steady, especially on my touchpad on this machine, because I don't often use my wireless mouse. If you're good at freeform snipping, that may work for you really great. Rectangular snip, which is what I use, you can see that's what it's defaulted to, and that way I can just crop out a box from the page that I want to cut from. And window snip will take out the whole, will capture that whole window, so it would capture this whole tab that I have open in my web browser or whatever app I was using. And then there's full screen snip, which obviously takes the full screen like a screenshot on your phone. So it's going to get all the tabs, it's going to get the taskbar at the bottom, it's going to be a capture of your whole screen, which is great if you're doing a tutorial or something, but not for this right here. So I'm just going to stick to rectangular snip. Okay, I don't want to do one right now, so I'm going to hit cancel, because what you first want to do is go to the area of the page where you need to make the snip. You're not going to be able to move it once you start the snipping process. So like I said, I'm going to use McCall 7745 because this has been a really popular pattern for spring. I've already sewed it up. You can check it out on the blog, tipstitch.com. I made it fully reversible by bagging the lining, and you can read all about that on the blog post. It's striped on one side and solid on the other. I'm really in love with that dress, although I did find that the bodice ran big, or maybe I mixed up my finished measurements. Anyway, what we're going to do is take a snip of this. So you're going to click back down on the snipping tool to open it, and then you're going to click new because we've already said it's a rectangular mode. You can now move this out the way if you need, but you can see that our screen is sort of grayed out. Hopefully you can see that. You're going to make a rectangular box, making sure that you get everything that you want to capture in the box. And that's a press and hold move, press, hold, and move. Now I've got it where I want it. I'm going to release, and you'll see the new window pops up in the Snipping Tools program that has that image. Now from here, you can Control C or right click copy. Now for a more advanced user, you have a few more options. I don't want to lose those of you who may not be really familiar with Photoshop. I promise you I'm going to get to the easier paint version next. But this is more so the way that I do it, so I just wanted to show that first. The other option that you have in Photoshop is once you've selected the right layer and the line drawings are on this layer 1 here, you can use the magic wand tool to select an area and then delete it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the ruffle. It's hard to see because it's white on white, but you'll see just in a second what I'm really doing here. So once I have those all deleted, I can select the layer that the fabric is on, which for me is layer 2, and I can move this behind the dress. Make sure that your levels are in the right order here. So level 2 would have to be under level 1, or the level that you have your pattern on, with your fabric on, would have to be below the level that your line drawing is on. I should have named these for clarity. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit more deep here, but as you can see, then you could see what the dress would look like in the print. Of course, the scale isn't going to be right because this is the snippet that you got from Joann's site, and then you've put it behind this much smaller scale, like sort of line drawing, but it gives you an idea of how the fabric would sort of read there. Additionally, if it's fabric that you bought in your local store, maybe it's not online, you can either take a picture of the fabric and import it that way, or you can scan it if you have a scanner and bring it in that way. I feel like all of that is getting a little deeper than maybe I want to get, so let me just say that with that, let me go ahead and fill this using the bucket tool again. You can either get an idea of what your outfit will look like in a print or simply a solid color. The other thing that you could of course do, especially if you're a great sketcher, I am not, is you can print out these line drawings blank like I have them, and if you have a print that either you can't find online to grab an image of or you just don't want to, you can hand draw like a smaller scale version of the print yourself on the line drawing to give you an idea and to plan your pattern placement. You can also simply take a swatch and pin it if you don't have the image next to the fabric, especially if ultimately this is going on a cork board, your dry erase board, or wherever else you plan to display your makes. But if this is something that you want to keep digital or you just want to keep in 2D, that's not going to work. But this gives you an idea here. Let me go ahead and minimize this, and we're going to do the same thing but using paint, which is simpler. So in paint, you will do the same thing. You'd go back to your snipping tool. We still have it here. You can Control C or go to Edit and Copy to copy the image. Open up your paint window. You'll already have a little canvas there. You can Control V here, and wham, there's the image. You can shrink this image down some if you need to by going to Resize, and you want to maintain aspect ratio so that nothing gets super out of whack, and you can maybe half it in size just so it fits a little better. And then you can see there we have it a little smaller just so I can fit more things on one panel. You can also zoom in if you need to see it clearer. Now that same bucket tool is here as well. You can go deep down and edit your colors just like you could in Photoshop, so you can get deep down in here and make the exact shade you sort of want. But let's do something different with this one. Let's make it yellow. We'll be Beyonce and Lemonade. And then you'll go to this same fill area with color or fill bucket tool, click it, and then click inside the dress. And you'll see that the dress, just like in Photoshop, turns yellow. So now you can see, hey, I really like that. I think that's going to be great. Maybe I want to do yellow. Yeah, so you have to fill in all these little areas if you want it to be 100% complete, because anything that is closed off as an area, that's where it'll stop. So you see I zoom in some more. If I get close enough in, I can fill in these ribbon areas as well. You can also, of course, use the draw tool. So whether or not that's the pencil, you can go in here and change the size and shape, the width of your pencil, and you can draw in more yellow in those tight areas where it sort of doesn't want to go. You could also freehand something, which, like I warned you, I'm not good at. So, you know, if you have a yellow floral fabric, maybe you go in here and you start drawing your own, you know, leaves and floral pattern because you're so inclined. Don't laugh at my terrible picture, people. Right? Maybe I got some pink flowers. I don't know. This will give you an idea of what it will look like, though. This can go as creative as your artistic ability allows you. So you're just going to repeat this process for more and more patterns. So that's how I made my vision board or sort of mood paper that I showed you in my spring sewing plans video. All you need is your computer, the internet, through a web browser, and somewhere to paste the images, whether that's Adobe, which gives you a little bit more control, or Paint, which is available on almost all computers. If you have a Mac, I'm sorry, I'm not a Mac user. I don't know what tools you may have available, but I doubt Apple would leave you hanging, so there's certainly something that's similar to Paint that should come on Mac computers or Apple computers. This is a great approach if you're a collection sewer, whether that's you pick a color or you really think like a designer and make a whole fall collection or summer collection. And even if you're like me and you just sort of sew by night, whatever tickles your fancy, it still sort of helps you to plan it out and maybe prioritize things over the other, or just decide if that fabric really is the best for that pattern. I know a lot of us hold on to fabric because we're just not sure what it's going to look like with that pattern. So this is a great way to help you visualize it. I really hope this helped you guys, and if you want any more tutorials, let me know in the comments, and visit my blog, tipstitch.com. Bye!